Alright, so currently in the Bay of Islands, quite close to a place called Russell. Flew in yesterday into Auckland and travelled up from Auckland through Matakana up to Whangarui, and then up here. We ended up taking a little bit longer than expected to get here. It took us about 5 hours, maybe a bit longer actually, because we had to stop for to get a surfboard. We stopped in Matakana, which has got this cool little brewery called Sawmill, which unfortunately had burnt down, so couldn't get the takeaway beers that we wanted, but there was another brewery that's there now, so that's great. And then we went to Whangarui for dinner and some supplies, and went to this little microbrewery pub called the Butter Factory, and it turned out they were doing a jamming session, so Brendan ended up playing on the keyboard and singing, and got a little bit away from us. So yeah, we got here at 11 o'clock instead of like 5 o'clock. So yeah, we're here for Denise and Nick's wedding. Brendan's over for 2 weeks. I'm here basically for the wedding, and then I'm going to head to the Coromandel, and then this is the start of my sort of 9-month trip around the world. So I probably should have recorded some stuff before I left, but just didn't get the time. So I thought I'd just record a quick video now, just kind of explaining why I'm doing this. So I put all my stuff in storage. Kind of my contract ran out at work, so fitted in nicely. Denise was getting married. I thought it'd be nice to come to New Zealand and start the trip this way. So the plan is basically to do New Zealand for a month, and then go to Hawaii for about 6 nights. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii ever since I saw it on Lost. And then hit San Diego, where my mate Jacob lives, and then fly across to Austin in Texas, where I'll meet Andy for South by Southwest, and then I'll come back to San Diego, and then it's up in the air from that point about what I do. So could be South America, could be Central America, could be Canada, could just be more of the States, and then fly across to Europe. So I'm sort of planning 3 or 4 months in Europe, hopefully about a month in Greece, maybe a month in Scotland, a bit in England, and then there's a whole bunch of countries that I've never been to that I'd love to see. Scandinavia, Israel, Budapest, Bucharest. I don't even know if they're countries or capital cities. Showing my lack of geographic knowledge now. But so basically, the whole idea behind this trip is just to kind of do a bit of a reset. So I feel like my job wasn't really quite going the way that I wanted it to. I was working for the man instead of doing my own thing, and I worked with Ben and Mark on Hulu, and unfortunately we didn't manage to get that to launch, and I was kind of hoping that would have taken off. So this trip's going to give me the chance to just take a bit of a breather and look at those side hustles like Hulu. We've got a few other ideas, and maybe like spend a bit of time on them and actually get them out there, get them to launch. And if they don't work out, then at least I've given it a good crack, and I can come back to Sydney and I can say, well, all right, maybe now it's time to get a proper job, or go and work for someone else's startup or something like that. So that's kind of that's number one, is to sort of figure stuff out from a professional work perspective. What is it that I want to do, and is there some sort of ideas that I've got of my own, so I can get my own business off the ground. The second thing is the travel, right? I mean, look at this. Like, it's insane, right? I like travel, did quite a bit of travel last year. I was lucky enough to get to New Zealand for about 3 weeks with Emily and Leah. Never saw the majority of the South Island. We did most of a fair bit of the north, and the top of the south, so we'd managed to get to the Abel Tasman and Marlborough region. I just want to travel more. So yeah, last year I saw New Zealand, I saw the States when I went to see South by Southwest with Ben, and Oscar, and made it across to San Diego to visit Jacob, and we went to Utah, and we went to Vegas, and we saw David and Lucia and all those guys, and yeah, it was great. And then I was lucky enough to get to Greece as well. I mean, last year was an insane amount of holidays, which Emily's constantly having a go at me for. But yeah, Greece was next level. Like, you know, we went for Max and Tasha's wedding, and then ended up sailing for, you know, over a week in the Ionian Islands, just basically just picking ports to go to. You know, we had Dano at the helm as captain, which was great, and we just had a really good crew with the 2 yachts, and it just kind of made me realise, like, you know, I have been, you know, I am grateful for all the travel that I've had in my life so far, but I'd like to do a bit more of it. You know, there's places I haven't been to that I'd love to see, and I think this time last year when I was in New Zealand, I had a leaflet or pamphlet that Mike had given me, in it basically sort of like, I think it was Keith Abrahams, and it stipulated that you need to sort of put together like everything that you want to do in your life, like your bucket list, and they can be sort of like a mixture of financial goals and professional goals and personal goals, and I did it, and you know, a fair amount of the things on my bucket list were travel related. You know, like, you know, love to see killer whales, would love to see the Northern Lights, you know, go and see the Formula One somewhere. You know, some things you can do in the country that you're in. Obviously there's a lot to do in Australia, but you know, things like the Northern Lights, things like you know, I don't know, like the Festival of the Dead in Mexico, or you know, Mardi Gras, and just like, you know, big festivals in you know, South America, Rio, you know, all the Spanish festivals, so the Tomato Throw and the Bull Run, the music festival in Paris in June, you know, just all that sort of stuff. Like, you know, you just see it all the time on the internet, and you think, well, why don't I do that? And you know, ultimately it comes down to money, and I thought if I could combine work and travel, then I could sort of extend that trip a little bit. So yeah, so they're the main 2 things, and then obviously sort of like work on myself as well, I guess. You know, get some books, do some yoga, do some meditation, eat well, live cleanly, all the things that we should be doing normally but just never really get a chance to do. So hopefully this trip enables me to do a lot of that stuff. So yeah, day 2 of the trip, but already feeling pretty relaxed, and yeah, we just went for a surf around that little bay, 5 minutes from here. We just had the whole place to ourselves, and yeah, feeling good already. Long may it continue.